Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So I'm back, bonus video today being Sunday. I haven't done a Sunday video for a little while. I sort of decided I'd take a little bit of a break from 7 days a week, so 6 days a week now. So I thought, no, I'm going to do one today because we're all formulating our journals, getting ready for our volume 6 Roxy Journal of Stitchery and its field notes. So firstly, my piece has dried that I made in yesterday's video. So this is going to be my seaside one. I'm really pleased with it. It feels nice and sturdy, and that's, I guess, the thing I wanted with my concertina version is it feels, you know, solid in my hands. I much prefer to have something a little bit more solid within the build of a journal, cover or even some inserts and things. So the book is ready to go basically. So if you haven't seen my video yesterday, I'd recommend you go and watch it because it'll sort of give you an idea. Let me zoom up a bit how I made this. But it was basically 4 Reader's Digest books, and I had them bull clipped together, and wherever they doubled up, like one book met the other book, I removed one of the pages or the covers, so that's thinned it out, so to speak. I then started the process of covering them and wrapping the fabric around it, using fabric to connect them, and I did it in a way that it formed this concertina. So now my beach journal, which is, like I said, going to be in this, is not... Why is it pushing back on me? What am I doing? That's better. My beach journal is not going to be strictly seasonal like I can do with my Edith journal, because there is just no seasons. Or maybe I'll be surprised. I doubt it. No, we're in winter now and I go outside and other than the temperature of the air, it looks the same. And I'm certainly not seeing different flowers and things like that pop up. So I have a feeling things will be pretty much same. But if you were doing distinct seasons, this could be a season, that could be a season, that could be a season, and that could be a season. That's why I'm thinking this is just a great one for seasons as well. What was I going to say? Oh, the book is going to rotate around, so it's going to flip around, which is great for seasons. So if that's the case, you might do the first season, let me spin it this way as if you're looking at it. You might do summer, skip this gap, winter, autumn, and then come back here with, oh gosh, it's like 4 in the morning, guys. I should be in bed asleep, but I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about these blubbered books. Basically, leave a gap between your seasons, because let's say there's your summer, then it flips open, there's your autumn, then that closes and you're ready to start again. So there's your winter and you flip open and there's the spring. So, and then when you flip it again, there's your summer. So that's the trick to a flip-flop journal. There's plenty of YouTubers out there that have been making flip-flop journals within the paper world. So it's going to be fun to use that style for a fabric one. Now within the pages, that's what I wanted to talk to you about now, is I was thinking about the concertina again. Like, you could do so much with this. You could even wrap it like, oh, anyway. Here's my fabric, my base. This is what I'll be stitching on. I can either, let's open this up a little bit more. I can either do a little concertina. Let's say I come across a topic or a prompt the girls give me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I could really go to town. I could place on the back of this first section a mini concertina. So that would sit in there. So crease it. And then like that. So this would be a base, if you will. And let's say I tear that, so pretend that that's now missing. So that then, let's just pretend that's not there, guys. I don't really want to tear it in case, oh, what the hang, it's only calico. Is it the right size? Let's say you want to do a piece that you need a little bit of real estate. So you might say, okay, well, this is a prompt. Then you lift it out. That's a prompt. So it's a little bit bigger. So you could do quite a scene. And then if that's anchored, there's another one there. So you see what I mean? Within this concept, you can have mini concertinas. So, it's got the potential is just great. The other thing I was going to show you, let's assume that this first section is a little concertina. So I might just pop a bull clip there. Get it standing back up like that. Okay, so we're ready to now look at the next section. This next section might just be a standard book page. Now let's get that prepped. So it's really going to depend on the prompts and how inspired you are on a particular prompt. The great thing about this is you've got lots of wriggle room. You've got 4 sections. I'm just getting that lined up. So yeah, this I guess gives you a few ways that you can proceed. I'm just going to pinch that forward a little bit because my piece of work, these are just the pages that hold the work. That makes sense. My work would be on a completely different piece. But when it came to adding the piece of work, I would have this substrate sitting here ready to go, like so. So what I thought I might do while we're fiddling around here is we might add it. So I grabbed out my book all kit from my journaling days, and I thought we might just have a little play. So I guess you've got a couple options when you're putting a signature of fabric into a spine. You can create a floating spine here if you didn't want anything showing out here. Or I think I'm just going to go for it. Where's my ruler? Of course, my ruler here. And I need a little bit of, do I do it with a paper? See, in the old days when I was making journals, I'd make a template to mark out the holes, but there was multiple signatures. I don't think I need to do that. I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to just estimate friction pen. So where are we? 6, 7, 8. It's nearly 8. So 4, 4, and we want it with a bit of stability. So I'm going to mark 1.5 inches down and 1.5 inches from the bottom and the middle. Then we need to find the middle. My ruler is just going to use that edge of the book that I can see there to get the middle. It doesn't have to be precise, like everything wriggles around so much with fabric, so don't sweat it. If you're thinking you're a little bit out, so even that looks a bit out to me. Really could be a fraction over, so keep that in mind, Corrine, as you do it. So let's pre-make our holes. This is a book all that my grandmother had. I presume she was probably using it for putting holes in leather belts and things like that. Who knows what she got up to. So I'm just making myself a nice little hole. But like I said, you can make yourself a template that would have the holes perfectly aligned. That one there feels like it's very much straight. Now, I'm going to just grab some cotton. I might just use crochet cotton, you know. I'll use this brown so you can see it. I can always remove it. There's no, you know, I might want to remove it to do some stitching. So I'm going to do about 3 times. Actually, I don't need to cut it, do we? Where's the needle? So this is what happens when you turn the camera on in the wee hours of the morning. Nothing's organised. You are literally, I just needed to get this all out of my brain, and you guys then can go and figure out what you're going to do. So I'm just going to line that up next to my holes now, top and bottom. Yep, can feel the bottom of the book, feel the top of the book. There's about 1/4 of an inch that the page is floating within. It's folded. I'm just going to mark now where those little holes are. And it should be roughly where we need it. So I guess another decision is, do you want the knot here or do you want it on the spine? I think I want it on the spine because then I guess I could put some dingle dangles and things like that. So let's just come from the rear through my hole. You can do 5 holes if you want. You could do, I'm just going to use 3. Let's go in here. I'm just going to go right on that fold. Make a bit of a hole as I come through. Fabric can be a bit, I will cut that thread. Hopefully it's enough. Should be. All right, so now I'm going to, using the fold, find where that other little hole was. There she is there. Make a little wriggle so there's a bit of space to come back through that hole. And then down through here. So I guess this method could be a combination of let's call them static signatures. Here we go, we're creating a whole new language now. A static signature, just like a typical journal. So now we're going to come back through the book. And we're going to come back, through that signature of fabric. And then in somewhere else in this little flip-floppy concertina, you could have a mini concertina. I think that's a pretty good idea if you wanted to do a longer landscape image. So it just gives you options. I don't think I'll go ahead and like assume all the pages at this stage because it really depends on the prompts, which we don't know, and that's the adventure. So I just thought I'll show you these 2 options of what you could put within this style of concertina journal. So now we're going through that top hole again. If it was paper, I would have done a little template to make sure all my holes were exactly where I wanted them, because paper's just not forgiving. So that is in, flip it over, and here's our strings. Now, I started at the back of the book because I wanted these strings to be here to potentially put some, I don't know, some shells or bits and bobs that I might find in my fossicking. So my tying off point is at the rear. I will knot it because I can always snip it and pull that piece out if I feel like I need to. So there's my threads. I was pretty close. Look, that's all that was really left. There's my needle. Okay. All right. Threads everywhere. Let's flip that over. So now in my little concertina world here, I've got a static signature. So that page could potentially have 4 little stitcheries. One here, one here, one here, and one here. Or you might just want to join them once you've put one here and one here. So it allows you to get your hand in there and attach your work and then to hide that attaching when you've, tacked it on, you do that. Or if you want, you could do 4, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and just little invisible stitches to, slip it all together. So that's a static signature. And then in this little gap, maybe winter is very big where you are and you want to really explore it. This might become winter. And you have in here ready, waiting, a little concertina, which you can anchor there. And there's your piece ready to go. But I wouldn't do that yet, because the last thing you want is this sitting on your lap and getting in your way of stitching. But your piece of fabric, which becomes your concertina, could be, just held in place with a bull clip as an option, which is what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a little bull clip there to hold it, and I'll put a little one on the bottom. So we're ready to roll. If I decide that I don't need that space because the prompts are just enough, this is enough space and 2 prompts and I'm on to the next section, well, then I can always trim this down and stitch it in. So it just gives you options. So that's how I will proceed with this little guy. Got plenty of space, got plenty of options, and I got these little cute little ties. Now, as for the inside of the cover, this one, and I guess the back one, that is another spot for either another concertina, like a flip out, like so, or just a single piece. So what I'm going to do is bull clip that there for a rainy day. So you look, you can even, like, see how that was too big and I've got this little bit that doesn't fit? That could be the piece that pulls it out. Gosh, there's so many possibilities. There's a selvage there, so let's flip it. So that sits there like that. That folds back to form the first concertina, and then that goes there. So that would make a very interesting, yeah, I like that. But I'm not going to glue it in because I need that to be in my hands to stitch and play with. But let's just bull clip it there. Great space. So that's what you'd pull out, and you'd have a mini concertina once again. Here's that other concertina. I might be then thinking, well, if I've got that on the cover, I might stitch in a static one here, and then you would have this to be something as well. So many options. You can really just go with the flow, and it'd make quite an interesting piece. If this is sitting in someone's lap to have a little look at your work, you could have your title page here, that pulls out, that pulls out. You could have even a signature that they could flip through, then they close the book and, oh my goodness, I'm into another season, another flip out, another signature, and away you go again. So yeah, this will be a cracker, I think. So let's just put the seaside aside. That was nearly poetry. And let's figure out this Edith, which is why I can't sleep. So I'll just go through my process of where I'm at, and hopefully by the time I verbalise this, I'll know what I'm going to do. These were the 3 that were missing from the last book. So these were the rejected pages. So when I walked in here and turned the lights on, I saw them still sitting on the mat beside me. So they were an option. And I'm thinking, oh, I think I'm going to need a little bit more space, because remember, I've got the donor book. This Edith book I'd been nibbling into when I was journaling. So it's going to be my, if I want a piece of paper in my journal, it has to be Edith paper. This is it. And I thought, well, that's just not going to cut it. The profile on these images is so big it's just, it would feel like I'm putting a giant into a small space when it comes visually to the designing. So I've abandoned the idea of doing a book that is based on a Reader's Digest. So that made me go further afoot. Let me just put my book all away. I don't know if we'll need that at this stage. Okay. Now, having said that, Edith's images are big. And I'd say a few of you are probably struggling with the fact that this is such a large scale. So I started thinking about a journal that I made with, what was it? Treasure Hunt volume. Oh, I can't remember. There's too many volumes. You imagine when there's like 15 volumes, we'll be all like, oh, I don't know where that was. But anyway, Treasure Hunt. I'm sure someone will know. This started as a concertina journal. So once again, we had just a hard cover. I put in a flip out. Let me just make some room here. I put in a flip out to give me more landscape to stitch on. And it's anchored with some glue to the cover. And you can see the calico in there. The calico or muslin is always my base. It's lightweight, it's cheap. You're not wasting beautiful fabrics only to be covered. So that is on the inside of the cover. Then there was one here, which then started forming the concertina. The concertina kept flipping around on me, and I think it was because it was such a big scale. This is a very big book. What's the measurements of this book, roughly? She's 7.5 inches by 10.5 inches. And it was like it was slipping on me. So I ended up putting this page anchored. That was a fold, and then I ripped it just to make a normal page. And as I built more pages, I then stitched them into a spine. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you find that your concertina is heading in all sorts of directions, just go with it, because that's what I did with this journal. And even then I could easily join in here and create a concertina on the front if I wanted. They could be meandered through your journal. So if you're concerned that it's going to flip-flop on you, you can easily come back and anchor it with spine. They're little tabs that I just stitched into before I anchored it into the actual book cover. So I just thought I'd show you that. I guess it's giving you a picture for those who are new. It's the newbies that I'm talking to. The rest of you are probably already stitching your front pages, I'm sure. I'm seeing pictures come up already on the Facebook group. If you're not part of the Facebook group, girls, go to Rachel and Sarah's video and you'll see links to their Facebook page. So with that in mind, I started thinking, okay, we need to go bigger. I pulled out this journal. Don't look at the artwork because this is like a million years ago. I pulled out this journal because it's a cracker too, because we've got watercolour paper, we've got fabric, and we've also got some hessian. So this allows you to really play. So it gives you the fabric and paper option. So I thought, well, this is probably where I want to go a little bit with the Edith book. So another suggestion for you. That's a purchased journal. It's put out by Ranger, if you're wondering. You may even be able to get your hands on one of these and use this as your journal, because it'd be interesting. See, there's even card in there, all stitched into signatures. See how they've done the signatures there? Folded them in half, stitched them into, well, they're not stitched. These are glued together here, and it's a floating so that it doesn't appear on the side with the stitch like I just did. So another suggestion, I don't know, it might be something you want to do. So that's where I'm at. So I went and found myself a book. I've got myself a book. I am so hoping the spine is suitable and it doesn't need to be wider, because I dare not cut that book. but I don't need to deal with stitching in and concertinas and spines yet. I just know I've got a book and a size. So that came out onto my desk. Now, I'm in the process of creating some journals for the ladies coming to the retreat. And they are base journals that you can add your stitching to. And I thought, oh, something different. I might make a few little journals for the girls to purchase if they want to, you know, have a base to put their work in. And I was ratting through all of my junk journal supplies, which are stowed in one corner of my big cupboard. And I found this. And this is what sort of set me off down the path of then going and grabbing this book out using different surfaces. Now, what these are, I was making journals and selling them, and I'd sort of mass make whatever, covers, pockets, you know, what you do. This is slightly thicker paper glued to calico. So like I did with my cover, I got a piece of paper, and it's this paper. So it's just thicker. I think 80 is the standard copy paper that you put in your printer for a letter. But this is just that cardstock, but it's not really thick. So I thought I'll grab out the bag of paper, and it might give you some ideas. You can go thicker by all means, but you can hear by the sound of it on my finger here, it's just a little bit heavier. And what I used to do is I, with my glue stick, just covered this in glue. Because it's blue, I could see exactly where I had not been, so back I'd come again. And then I would have my piece of calico on my desk. I'm going to put this book aside because this is where I'm heading with the holding of my journal. But at the moment, I need it all loose, and, you know, probably closer to the end of the project, it'll go into the actual cover itself. So let's say I've got a piece of calico out on my desk. I glued that paper onto it. I burnished it down to make sure that the glue soaked into the fibres of the calico, and then I just let it sit on my desk exactly in that position for a day so that it dried, and it then became really adhered. I then went around with my scissors and trimmed it out. So you can see I just cut close to the edge of that paper. So what I then went on to do was I'd lay lace and fabric on this. I'd hop on my sewing machine and I'd stitch through with my sewing machine whatever I wanted, and that would become the start of a journal. That meant on the inside, let's say I had digital papers, I had scrapbook paper, I could then just glue straight into paper to start the process of creating a journal. So it would make a soft journal. Just I'll pause for one moment. I just want to grab something to show you. Won't be a moment. How far are we into the video? Half an hour already. Seriously. Back in a second, guys. Okay, I'm back. So I just jumped up and grabbed a couple journals that I'd made to sell, and I never got around to putting them out on the Etsy store. So I thought I'll take them to my retreats and someone might be interested in, you know, taking them. But this is the same concept as what this was. So I started with my thicker cardstock, covered it with fabric, and then when I was ready to formulate the journal and the style and the image of it, I ended up putting a decorative piece of fabric through here, and that then just left a simple inside, or this could be on the outside and this could be paper through here if you decide to put some scrapbooking paper or, you know, some Edith in there. So these give you a bit of an idea of the weight that you can achieve. So you still have that flexibility in the cover without using something hard, and you can start bringing in your fabrics. These were all done on the sewing machine, so you know, we're hand sewing a little bit more now, but this was in the paper journal type scenario. And this little guy has the spine attachment where you can slide your pages in and out. Also great for slow stitch too, because then you can remove your piece and work on it and then slide it back in. So this works for fabric as well. I think that's pretty much it. You can put some pockets in easily too if you decide to run a piece of fabric through and just hand stitch it there, and you've got yourself a pocket. So you've got heaps of options on the cover, and then your concertina would sit on the back here and pull out. So I guess what I'm trying to say is my Edith journal cover could be this. So my idea of using the hardcover at this stage is still up in the air. So you can easily create a soft journal, out of this. So having said that, what's stopping us then attaching a couple of these? Because I've got a few of them. There's nothing stopping us creating our concertina out of a few of these. So that's sort of where I'm at, and I guess I wanted to turn the camera on, talk it through, and make some decisions. The thing I like about these is I've got paper. So if I want to sketch and I want to glue samples or like a paper element to my book and then have a surface to attach my stitching, where's some fabric? Let's assume, let me grab this. Let's assume that's my work. That can go onto there, and then it flips and you've got somewhere where you're doing a paper. Let's say you don't want paper here. I can easily put a piece of fabric through and another piece of stitching could go there, and I could have a complementary piece of paper. It might be a piece of Edith. Could slide in there, and there's your stitchery. So you could, I guess, drift paper Edith through your work. And this, I think, is what I'm going to do the more I talk about this. So we need to make a concertina out of this. So what I'm going to do is, luckily I have these pre-prepared. I'm going to create a join here that builds my concertina. Yes, I am. Am I? Yes, I am. And I'll keep it neutral because I can always put colour in there if I want. So I need to get myself some calico scrappy bits. I've made a decision. Gosh, let me pause. I'll be back in a second. I'm back. All right, so I found a scrap that is just a strip. So that's going to be my joining fabric. And I thought I'll just bring this to the table in case I think of something that I want to do. So, how many of these do I need? I don't know. Maybe we just do the 3 to start with. And I know I've got some spare. If it gets out of hand and my concertina needs more space, I've got another 4 up my sleeve. And like I said, they can be added at any time. So let's pop that aside. So all I'm going to do is glue these together. And because it's a concertina, you need one to be like that, so the folds like that. What do we used to call them? Mountains and valleys. So you need your valley and you need your mountain to make your concertina. And we're going to have a little bit of a gap. Doesn't need to be much. We're going to get ourselves a scrap piece of fabric and we're just going to join it. I'm liking this idea because I'm getting the different surfaces to, I guess, play. You might decide to dedicate the altar, every so often a fabric page, or you might have one side all paper. Let's assume that you folded that the other way, like that. So you've got your valley and your mountain. You could join that there. So this side of your concertina is where you do all your paper, your sketching, painting, things like that. So you might do it on a piece of watercolour paper, and then that gets glued here. That's probably what I would do, is get some beautiful watercolour paper. Do have your doodling, your sketching, and and then on the other side, use your fabric. Let's do that. There we go. Got another idea. Oh my goodness. Rachel, Sarah, Juju, what have you done to us all? Our brains are buzzing. Just find your own, I guess, idea, concept that you feel comfortable with, and go for it. And if there's something a little bit different in there that you haven't done before, well, enjoy the journey. So I'm just going to attach that. Don't know why the blue stick is not blue. Not very blue compared to some of them I was using yesterday. They were really blue and sticky. I'm just going to give myself a 1/4 of an inch spine. Maybe not even that much. Are they level? Nope. Level-ish. Fabric wriggles, so don't stress if your journal is not stable and straight. It won't be with fabric. It's just going to be a squishy. Okay, and attach. It's that simple, guys. Yeah, so I've flipped it, didn't I? I've got paper one side and I've got fabric the other side. Okay, so now we're joined. All right, let's fold that. Let's fold that. Oh, I like that. Yes. So if I want to look through it this way, I've got stitching. If I want to look through this way, I've got paper. No guarantees I will keep this in this format. Who knows? Isn't that part of the adventure? These will evolve. Let's just do fabric and fabric again together, but I'm going to join it on the paper. That'll just give that continuity. If I'm going to have a bit of Edith, tribute to Edith in this journal, I need to be able to comfortably add images from that book that's fallen to bits. I remember when I was doing an Edith journal, there was an Etsy store that had them scanned, that you could buy the digital of them. And then it disappeared because I'm guessing you probably can't be doing that. But then a heap of them popped up. Some are still around, some are gone. So I just don't know. I don't know. It seemed all a bit dodgy at the time. Unless they'd created their own work inspired. But boy, they looked very much like the Edith books. So I'm not sure what all happened there. I'm sure Etsy probably got some reports of copyright issues and jumped on those sellers. I don't know. Okay. All right. A little bit of a spine and down she goes. And I didn't rip it. Good one. I'll just cut it. I don't want it to. And then we can fray it up. I've been thinking about my Edith and what fabric would be my colour palette. I mentioned in yesterday's video I have that Tilda fabric, which is the Seasons. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to use that. You guys will be thinking, oh, that girl, does she know what she's doing? No. Just going with the flow. I know I want to use all the doilies and things like that, but I'm thinking of using some Lucello fabric or when I walked into the room, I had a little pile of William Morris fabric on my desk. So that's also floating around in my mind. But I'm thinking along more the Lucello, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I need to fold that guy. Could even be tricky and fold it back again, you know. Oh gosh, you could do so much with these. So I guess this is my base. There we go. One concertina, slightly reinforced. It's not so floppy. And at some point could be adhered into a journal cover. See, I suspect that this spine is going to be too narrow because it's yet to have stitching and paper and collaging. Oh, it might be all right. We'll see how we go. I don't want to be inhibited. I don't want to be held back because my spine is too small. So the beauty of a concertina journal is you're going to build it and work on your substrate, whether that be a big piece of fabric. You might just have a beautiful big piece of fabric and you've folded it and you're, you know, ready to do your stitchery. I think I need more structure than that, so I'm building in some paper in amongst it, which is going to force me to do some painting and some sketching, and then I can have a bit of a mix of it. If I decide that that's too much painting, sketching, I can add in a bit of inspiration. I can put some fabric through here to turn it into a spot where you would put some stitching. So I've got lots of options, but this is my substrate. And I have also plenty of space to add on another one and another one. If it gets out of hand, it's, you know, not an issue. So the prompts, 12, I would think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll definitely need more. So I'm going to add another one. Let's add another one. So that's 4. Plus I'm enjoying adding it. I can always cut it off. I can always do an adjustment. Let's fold it this time because I glued it on. I should be letting this sit and dry too, guys. I'm fiddling around with it with you. Flip it because I'm going to join on the paper. This too can be hand stitched into very easily. Where's the needle? Let me show you. Look at that. That's easy on the hands. So if you want to embellish the edge, you could do an overcast stitch or a blanket stitch. And what I'd probably do is go along and pinprick a heap of holes. So then you can just sit back and stitch your needle just straight in. But anyway, that's for another day. That's when we get to the fun stuff and we start fiddling around with our creative pieces. I'm going to be digging out my watercolour pages next, I'd say. Oh, imagine sitting on a sand dune looking like a professional artist sketching something. Won't that be a sight? They'll be thinking there's someone sitting there looking like they know what they're doing. As long as they don't come up to me and look over my shoulder. By then I probably will scurried off back down the back of the sand dune and hidden behind a gum tree. Don't look at me. I'm just pretending I know what I'm doing. No, it'd be nice just to sit for a change instead of going down to the beach and pounding along the foreshore, exercising, I think they call it. It'd be nice to actually go and just sit and observe and have a look at the grasses around me and any birds that might be around. I've got one more thing to show you too, which I thought might give you a bit of an idea for your area. See, that's a big piece of calico, isn't it? Hello, Fudge. Fudge is out of bed. Poor Fudge, you know, I'm in here at the Cracker Sparrows and he's like, what is she doing? I'm trying to sleep. Hey, Fudgy. Yeah, Mum couldn't sleep, darling. She's She's got Edith Holden on the brain. All right, we've now joined another one. So there we go. There's my substrate. Fabric backed onto paper gives me the option of paper and fabric pieces to follow along on the prompts. Will it end up in this cover? Who knows? But it fits that. If it's too chunky, which I suspect, we can create something down the track with a nice big spine suit. So that might be something fun to do at the very end of the project. We create a wrap or a cover or a, oh, imagine a beautifully stitched wrap. Oh, and not even worry about a hard cover. Just something to hold your concertina. See, that feels really good in the hands. I think that solved my swooping around everything problem. All right. I'm going to put this away because she's delicate. This came from Rachel probably about 18 months ago, and she's delicate. So I'm going to put it away now because it's only getting knocked around in my hands. So let's tell you about the fabric that I plan to use. I'll just grab the William Morris. And I want to have a look at the colour palette and make a decision. So we've got a little pile of William Morris. Good thing about this is it's English. Good thing about it is it was around when Edith was around. Good thing about it is it's warm tones. So they're all positives. Tilda, it's out. I'm just not ready to chop into it. Here we have my Lucello. I love the colour scheme, the blues and the reds. And in amongst it, I get some stripes. I get floral. You can see why I'm going towards this. The only thing I'll say, and that was a Lucello, is it's not really suiting the book and its tones. That one does. Oh, maybe it will. Maybe I just had it open on all these yellow, brown tones and that was putting me off a little bit. Okay, I feel a bit better then. Lucello, isn't that French? Maybe Edith went for a holiday to France. I bet she did. You Europeans tripping all over the place. Within hours, you're in another country. Here, within hours, I'm in another state. That's the best I can do. See how it's very yellow? That works with that. Pinks and that works with that. I think it's got to be Lucello, guys. That works with Lucello. Not that you have to follow a colour palette. You might be more random. See, that'll work. So there's definitely pages in here that I can add to my work. Yeah, see, that works with Lucello. If I want to add an actual image from the book. That works with Lucello. Yeah, that's William Morris. We're not doing another journal. Corrine. Oh my goodness. It's interesting how all of the books are slightly different. That works with Lucello. Definitely like that. Yeah. I'm gonna go Lucello, guys, because I feel like the imagery is better suited that I've got here. I like that I've got stripes and spots to break it up. I like how script is going to merge easily with these softer tones. I can put a pop of red in where this, yeah, it's Lucello. Decision made. Like, I love this. Like, I even considered using this as my theme for the ocean. Maybe I'll do that. And it doesn't matter. I get, so look at the colours. So the bush heading to the beach. There's nothing beachy about it, mind you. Yeah, I don't know. It's not really the ocean, is it? No, William's gone. Put William away. I think the seaside one, I want freedom to go wherever. Yeah, it's not William. William Morris is not the beach. Okay, we figured that out. So, all right, where am I at now? I think that's probably it. I did want to show you one more resource that you may have not considered. So I will pause the video again and go and grab that. Won't be a moment, guys. Okay, I'm back. For inspiration to guide you on how to draw or getting the detail of something that you have been prompted to find. Let's say the girls say go and find a bird in your area. For those of you who are in Europe and Britain, you've got some beautiful field guides that you can draw upon, and everything in there is from your backyard. So you can really start looking at the structure of your plants and things like that. That's not so much here. There's no doubt books out there, but what it brought to my mind is my environment, and I've got these two books. These are permanently on my coffee table. I'm a bit of a fan of what is that, and then I have to I have to know what it is I'm looking at. So when I was living in Brisbane, I picked up this book. So if a possum or a butterfly or a snake, usually snakes, landed in my backyard, I could go to this spider, for example, and look it up, and gave me a little bit of information, especially if it was lethal. I would know. I'll skip the spider section. Birds. See, birds are really good. Frogs. So I thought I'd just mention this because for those of you who may be in an area where there is a publication at your local community centre or information centre to do with your area, it might be something you could use or you've had in the cupboard for ages. Pull it out, because when we start, looking at these prompts, let's say there's a prompt for a beetle. I don't know the prompts at all. You might go, well, I can't find a beetle, but I know I've seen that beetle regularly, but he's just not around, and you might want to do, a stitchery, praying mantis. So I thought I'd just mention that. So that's the Brisbane one, or Queensland, pretty much for all the Queensland girls, but, most of this is down the whole of our country. Look at the birds. Owls. See, if the girls do an owl or a bird, an owl would just be so beautiful to stitch, but boy, they're going to be hard for us to, traipse around and find. At least you've got, a reference. Someone said to me they could just picture me. Who was that? Melinda. You said picture a, wearing your car keys and your hat, and off you go into the scrub. Which brings me to finish the video on a funny story. I was traipsing through the bush a couple of years ago, exploring my environment, and I thought I heard something around me. I don't know if I've already told this story, guys. I know I told it to Susanna. I heard something around me, and it sounded like whispering. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's people here. Straight, I'm like, oh, there's trouble. There's bad dudes around. Get out of here. My instincts. And then I couldn't hear anything. I stopped, couldn't hear a word. I kept walking another couple metres, and I heard more little whispers. And then suddenly there was movement to the side of me, and here was these two people squatted down in the grass, just observing birds. And then I think it was a guy and a lady that I saw, she says, oh, don't worry, love, there's a few of us here. We're watching birds. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get out of here because I've probably just frightened them away. And I'd found this little detour track through this little scrubby bit. Instead of following the path that everyone was walking, I was like, oh, I wonder what's down there. So off I went on this little mini adventure. And they were all through this zone. There was about 30 of them in there. They were all dressed in khaki camouflage colours. They all had sketch pads or binoculars, cameras, and they were through the whole area observing. And I come traipsing through, so they would have thought they had a beautiful spot away from everyone, but no, Corrine comes bollocking through the space. Well, I found out later that there's a very big bird identifying club here, a bird club, bird watching club is what I'm trying to say, in the area. And someone said, oh, they've just published a book. So my mum and I at the time, we hunted high and low and we found their publication, which this is it, at the Hervey Bay Information Centre. So as tourists entered the area, you'd pick up maps and tours, and the volunteers would say, right, go here to the Esplanade, go here. You know, it's like a community centre. They're in most of our towns across Australia. So we found the book, and it's just been fantastic because I've gone to a whole new environment. There's a section in here, like these are everywhere, magpies and crows and things. But there's all these little birds up here that I've never seen in Brisbane. There's Willie. That's Willie, who chats at my window, at my door when I open it, when I refer to the little Willie Wagtail and his harem of girls. Honey eaters. So I've planted some natives in the embankment and I'm seeing little honey eaters. So I've identified the one that I'm seeing. Where is he? This little guy, the brown honey eater. He is already feasting on all of my little flowers. So I can't wait till I start to see some more. Like, look at that. He's here. This is just so exciting. The Burrum Heads, Hervey Bay, Fraser Coast bird watchers have photographed each one of these and created this book. Seriously, look at the variety of birds. Look at those. So when it comes to seabirds, I know nothing. So, look at those little swallows. Focus. Kingfishers, owls. Like I've never seen these. I was amazed at how many are here. Pigeons. Now we're into the sea life. So I was walking Pepper and Bandit the other day and I was like, what is that? This guy. I saw this bird. He came to probably the top of my shin in height. So we're talking reasonably sized bird. There were two of them. They were sitting at the side of our lake and he had the most beautiful, most vibrant orange beak, like that, but brighter again, actually, like that. Really, really bright. And it was about that long. I'm thinking, what are you? I've never seen you before. So as soon as I got home, I looked him up in my book and that's him. It's the largest tern. And he is two of them. See, distinctive large red bill. Can be in singles or pairs or groups. Coastal estuaries, bays, harbours and inland rivers, lakes and dams. I've got him in my backyard. So I just thought I'd mention that, oh yeah, here, look, years ago we had these guys, jabberoos, just across from the lake. There's an estuary. And I saw this bird fly in because the last house, which is across the lake looking back at this house, was a 2-story and we lived upstairs and had a veranda. So I got a different bird's eye view. There's a pun. And in the distance, I saw this huge bird come in and land. And we went looking through the book and we had a mating pair of jabberoo. They build a massive nest of sticks and then walk into it, these big long legs. And mate forever. They migrate, they come back and they raise their babies in a quiet area. So I'm not sure if they're still over there. That was a few years ago. and I don't sort of have that view to that zone. I'd have to actually hike in there, and then I'd have to do a bit of research, because maybe they're not here and they only come a couple months, have their babies and then leave. I'm just not sure. But yeah, anyway, beside the point, this might be a good research resource that you can use to help you identify things in your backyard. You might have a flower one, a plant one, or a bird one. So I've got those handy, so when I start looking at prompts, I can actually drill into what is in my environment for the seaside one. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm rabbiting on. I'm sure you are all busy stitching. My next stage in my process is to work on my title page or front page, or yeah, so I now need a day to think about that. So probably midweek I'll be back with a video, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, with my plans for my front covers. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodbye. My Edith journal, concertina, with a little bit of reinforcement in there, with some paper and fabric options, sketching, painting, drawing, stitching is ready to go. All right, guys, look after yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.